Welcome, Mr. Ajay Kapoor, to IPF exclusive video interviews. And thanks for spending some time with the magazine.
Thank you so much.
So, Mr. Kapoor, since you took over as a CEO of Vedanta Aluminium in May 2019, what has been your priorities?
So essentially, Vedanta Aluminium and Power is one of the 7 important verticals of Vedanta Group. Very proud to have been given the responsibility to shoulder a total investment base by the company of close to $10 billion. So key priorities have been to make sure that the aluminium assets, which are close to 2.5 million tons, which includes a refinery in Lanjigarh, which is today 2 million tons capacity. It also includes 2 smelters. One is Jharsuguda, which we had set up a greenfield project some time back, and another Balco smelter, which was acquired by the company a few years back. Besides that, we also have a standalone commercial power plant in Punjab, Talwandi Sahu Power Plant. So essentially 8,000 megawatts of power assets, close to 2.5 million of aluminium. Key priorities very clearly are making sure health and safety, environment remains a top priority. We are, fully responsible towards the environment, towards the communities. Number one. Number two, we are responsible to the country. We are always taking a lot of pride in saying that aluminium is a very strategic metal. It's a green metal. It's a metal for future, and it will usher in the dream of India to become a $5 billion dollar GDP kind of $5 trillion economy. And aluminum will play a role. So my responsibilities have been to make sure that our plants run at 100% capacity. We are able to satisfy all the demand of the country. And then, of course, we also look at international markets which offer us very good play, where our value-added products and services can go. Make sure that we are cost competitive, not just in India, but across the world. And that benchmarking has been the key KPI, the way I drive my business. Make sure that the power plants operate at the best efficiency, highest plant load factors, and they are producing power at zero emissions as per the requirements of the country. And above all, the people who work for us, they come and grow, they learn. The communities around whom we have set up the plants prosper along with us. And then the shareholder who has invested money in the company is also happy that he made the right choice of capital. So I think those are the priorities. Very happy by and large. I've been able to tick most of them, and some of them is still work in play.
So what is the current demand supply situation of aluminium in India?
So essentially, India is about 4 million tons per annum capacity aluminium market. That makes it the second largest market in the world outside of China. The global demand is about 70-75 million tons. China is about 50% of that. And of the remaining 35 million, India is about 4 million. Post-COVID, like most of the businesses, aluminum demand was also hit because the major consumption pockets for aluminum in India is the electrical sector, where it's used for the distribution, cabling, conductors. The second is the building and construction, where you see all the aluminum windows, frames, furniture. That is the extrusion segment. And then everything else, which also includes automobile alloys, consumer products like fans, the stethoscope of a doctor, the laptop, so on and so forth. So all this, came to a standstill because of the complete lockdown. So I think April was pretty bad, I would say, the local demand. It almost fell down to 15-20% of the normal. In May, we saw it bouncing back to 40% or 50%. And in June, it already neared about 70-75. And in July, as I see it, it's nearing 80%, 85% of the normal. Hopefully, in the quarter ahead, it should more or less come towards the normal.
So are you seeing a pickup in the demand since lockdown was lifted in May?
Yes, that's what I told you. The stepwise, if I say, April would be about 20% of the normal demand. May would be about 30-40%. June was more 70-75%. And going forward, I expect it's coming nearer to 90+, and hopefully as the year rolls by. Except that currently, as I speak to you, the second round of lockdowns have been announced in some of the states. So that, the situation is very dynamic, very difficult to determine, but very happy to see that to a large extent it's back on the roll. And then there will be the pent-up demand, so that will come and play in the months ahead. That's my take.
So which end user industries are key segments, customers for Vedanta Aluminium?
Essentially three. The biggest is the electrical segment, the entire power distribution segment, then building and construction, and then followed by everything else, which also includes automotive and all the alloying.
So in terms of percentage, how much will be your electrical and building and construction maybe constituting to your sales?
I can give you one number. We are the largest electrical wire rod, the wire rods manufacturers in the country, and perhaps one of the largest players in the world also outside of China. So we occupy a sizable space. We will be the biggest player in India. Again, we are a sizable player in the extrusion billet segment also. And in auto, we are like others. We are also early days because a lot of auto comes imported also, because of the total 4 million demand, 50% plus gets imported, which is not so great. We're not very proud of that, because Atmanirbhar Bharat, the fundamentals are in trying to be able to produce everything in India. And I'm very happy that all the producers, aluminum producers in India, are able to produce as much India needs. So for Vedanta, as I said, electrical, the building and construction, and then the other segments, which also includes alloying and the auto sector.
So Vedanta Aluminium has developed a primary foundry alloy. What's the significance of this development for the company and auto industry in particular?
So basically, if you see, the few hard facts in auto, when we look at auto in America, for every 1,000 people, about 900 plus owns car. And when you look at India, this percentage is less than 100. It will be, a single double-digit figures, but I say kind of a figure. On the other hand, also the way cars are designed globally, the percentage, the weight of aluminum in the car is much higher in Western world versus in India. In India, the ratio of weight is still less. The major areas where aluminum gets used in India in the auto sector is the alloy wheels, the cylinders. So those areas earlier were 100% imported. Vedanta has very proudly set up a capacity. We're the first ones to do that. We have about 240,000 tons per annum capacity. We made good inroads into a lot of car manufacturers, and hopefully in time to come this should grow into a very strong element of our product basket. So strong that we should be able to actually start counting it just the way I said the wire rod segment. But it takes time. We have to be patient, because electrical segment, when it comes, the only way an electrical car will be successful is when the weight of the car is reduced, so that the mileage is much more. And that's when aluminum alloys will play a very critical role. In fact, we are also waiting to see how aluminum batteries will play out in time to come. And I believe that will be a game changer for the industry.
So is the PFA targeted at the conventional internal combustion engine and also electric vehicles? This both the segments of the industry?
What happens is alloys are used for various uses in car. You have to compare that. How does this compare with the traditional steels and other metals with which cars were made? Typically, a electric car doesn't have an engine. If it doesn't have an engine, the body, the parts of the body, the battery, the wheel alloys, those are the areas which will become more predominant. And then don't forget, it's just cars. It's also SUVs, the buses, the metro rails. I think all these will become, they will use some or the other form of aluminum alloys, including our space programs. because again, there you need alloys made out of metals like aluminum. So I think it's a water material. You can do multiple things, and you have to mix certain things in the base metal, and you can get out beautiful alloys. And for that, R&D has to be constantly focused upon.
So is the aerospace and defense segment also one of the focus areas for your company?
We are looking at those, every segment we are looking at. Some segments will be at, like in wire rod, we are a direct supplier. Others, we can be indirect supplier, wherein we supply our base metal to somebody, and that somebody converts it into the required, form, and then give it to the companies. But we are clearly looking forward to space sector, and we're already talking, understanding defense sector in time to come. What kind of metal can we give? Either we do directly, or we encourage other ancillary industries to come up, who can come up and set up hot metal parks around our factories from where these products can be manufactured. End of the day is we should have the most optimum supply chain, and what makes perfect sense for a customer is what needs to be done. And we would not like to get into every area, but we would like to be focusing on the core products through which all these other products can be made.
So are you also looking at developing more such value-added products for the industries that you just mentioned?
Absolutely, absolutely. So what we have is a central R&D center, which is headed by a global expert expat officer, who's our chief technology officer. We have set up innovation centers at each of our sites, which is manned by very sharp young engineers, IITs, IIMs, PhDs, metallurgical engineers. And the task is very simple. Do two things. Number one, see what is already done in the world, and try and see how fast India can replicate that, because it's not a rocket science. These products are being used elsewhere in the world. Number two, develop new uses, working with the end users, and that homologation time takes time. So keep on doing product trials, keep on working with the OEMs whom we want to service. Make sure that we become the R&D lab not only for our own products, but also of the products of our OEMs. And I personally interacted with many of our OEMs when I go to their factories, when I talk to them, and sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised when I go to visit a factory of a person where I am a supplier. I find my young engineer standing at their shop floor and greeting me and saying, "Sir, look, we are already here. We're trying to co-develop products." I think that's the kind of practical approach we're taking on, and we are very confident that every year we should be having a couple of new products, new alloys, new forms of aluminium for spurring the India's $5 trillion dream, and Vedanta's own dream to be a global player with an Indian footprint and the largest India subcontinent focus.
So are you going forward, can we expect a contribution from value-added products to increase in the overall turnover of Vedanta Aluminium?
Absolutely. In fact, the target to the sales director is to have 100%, but it takes time. So it's a journey. If you ask me what's the target given to my marketing and sales director is 100%. But I know it takes time. It's a journey. We are patient. So I think we should, in the near future, next medium term, we should already hit upwards of 60%, and then close the gap from 60 to 100. Sometimes it's good to have few, ingot market also, because that helps you play in the global value chain. And sometimes your product can become a product of some other industry. Thereby, also it's a great value. So we have to actually see what makes sense. But yes, right. The journey is to 100%.
So coming to exports market, how is the current exports market, and from Vedanta's point of view?
See, export, we have essentially three geographies, large geographies we work on. The first priority is India with subcontinent, so that we look at as one geography, extension of India into its neighborhood. Second is the rest of Asia, where we have freight-friendly markets where we can, take advantage of being a local supplier. And then we have evolved, developed markets like Americas and the Europe. Vedanta has very good footprint in all the three. In fact, in Europe and Americas, we are also sizable players in the extrusion and some of the downstream value-add products. We largely sell value-add products there. And over a period of time, it's taken some time, but we have got some of the best customers buy from us. So we're very proud of our association there. When the COVID hit India, and when India actually went to a stage of just 20% demand, I think our export and the supply chain footprint helped us to make sure that all our smelters ran 100% and our refinery also ran 100%. That was only because we were able to quickly shift the gear and increase the exports through our networks. As a result, we were able to do very rapid supply chain and product flow, product and geography, play, which again is now reverting back to normal as the India demand is coming back to normal.
People are saying that because of COVID, it will present India a chance to be a bigger player, global manufacturing. What is your take on this with respect to aluminum industry?
See, it's a absolutely opportune moment for India to claim its glory in one more sector, which is aluminium. But we can do this on two counts. One, as entrepreneurs, we need to do our bit through our aluminium association, through our other industry associations. The second part is through support from the government, both at the state and at the center, because we need their help also in the entire understanding of the tax, in the way the domestic procurement has to be encouraged in the new industries, in avoiding the dumping of scrap coming from some of the other countries, because somebody else's waste, why it is getting dumped in India when Indian primary producers can provide such a good quality of metal. So I think the key lies in making sure that of the 4 million demand and the 2 million import, how can the primary producers fulfill the entire 4 million? And then they are ready to add more capacity. So I think we are very, very keen to support the government, working with the government and ensuring that we provide all the best quality products that are needed.
So finally, what are your short-term and long-term growth plans for Vedanta Aluminium?
See, at the moment, we would focus on running the plants at full capacity. Our stated objectives are to become fully integrated aluminium player. To that extent, whatever backward integration needs to be completed, we'll complete it. We also have some opportunity to increase our smelting capacity through debottlenecking, through a little bit of innovation. So all that will be done. At the same time, in the midterm, we will review. But I think today is not the time for me to talk of growth, because today is the time for us to consolidate what we have, make sure that our products are available. And I think we also stated in our last results that we will come out with our future forecasts after our Q1 results. So I think at this moment, I will not like to comment on that area.
Thanks, Mr. Ajay Kapoor, for spending time with IPF, and all the best for your business in 2020 and beyond.
Thank you so much, Rakesh. Nice talking to you.